All right, I will say hello and welcome back to another episode of All About Balance. And today I am joined by one of my, maybe my oldest friend, actually. Maybe my oldest friend that I still know.
Maybe, yeah. I'm gonna say that you still know. Yeah, I think obviously you probably knew people before me. But...
Maybe your brother, but I do still know him. But yeah, anyway, I am joined today by Mr. Ben Davies. Ben, how's it going, my friend?
Hello, I'm good. How are you? How's things?
Yeah, all right, mate. All right. That's pretty fucking mad to think about. Oldest friend, actually. And
yeah.
Because Imogen asked me the other day, how long do I know you? And I was like, I'm 27 now. We met when I was 13.
Yeah, I was year 7. So, well, no, it was before year 7 actually, because
it was before year 7.
Obviously you knew Jack. So I mean,
Jack.
I don't know, maybe year 5, year 6. So
it's
I mean, what's
like
that?
13 years.
2005, 2006. Yeah.
It's like 13 years, 14 years. It's a long time.
I would have been like 10. Yeah. Wow.
It's a long
It's been a long time, and I mean, well, time flies, man.
I think it's crazy to think about that. To think how like we've continued to be friends, and yet the people we are like as individuals is almost completely different to what we were when we were, I don't know, 13 and 10, whatever it was.
Yeah, do you think? I don't know. I was going to say
almost certainly.
I was going to say, like, when I think back to when we were that, like, you know, when we first knew each other, it would be just COD. I mean, we don't play COD now, so I suppose it is different. But I think if we start getting into that, it would be like how it used to be.
Of course, and I think this is something, and we will talk about that. We have to talk about that. Yeah. But like, the thing that I find so strange is that, I mean, think about just who you were, the things that you thought, the way that you perceived the world when you were 10, 12, in comparison to how you perceive the world now. And that's probably a good segue into the coronavirus thing. But like, think about how different it is to be in the head that you are now. How old are you? 25?
24.
24, yeah, quite. Yeah. So to be in the head that you are at 24, to be when you were, I mean, I don't know about you, but I can't even remember really what I was thinking when I was 13. Not really.
No, I mean, no, not really. Well, that's what I mean. The thing is that, again, you say you can't remember because the things that you did think about then was what? I mean, just not really anything important, was it, you know?
Well, it was important to us at 13, right? I think importance is probably a variable.
Yeah, so I get your point. I see what you mean. I think, yeah. Because I got something to say. I'm trying to figure out how to say it. Yeah, I mean, back then it would have been important, but when I was thinking about more of important like that, is that there's some things in our lives that are always important, aren't there? So I was thinking that kind of way. But yeah, but definitely, I mean, I was thinking about night, wake up, go to school, and then the first thing I'd be thinking about was coming home 3 o'clock, 3:30, and getting on the Xbox. So yeah, that is definitely not the same now.
Well, no, and I mean, I don't where do we even go from there? Like, probably the Xbox thing, like. So I've said this a few times on the podcast, but we used to play a lot of hours.
Too much, yeah.
Too much. Well, was it like?
I mean,
because I think about it now. Like, what? I mean, do you think now that you took anything from those hours?
Yes, I think I have actually. I've got. You can say it different. You can think of it in different ways. I think as well. With certain games that you play, you become interested in certain things as well. Mm-hmm. But like with putting that many hours in, I would have thought maybe, I suppose, my vision, thankfully, touch wood, is not any worse. But like,
I can't say the same.
Maybe like, I suppose reaction times, things like that. I mean, like physically and mentally. Physically, it took a toll on me. I got fucking huge. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know swear or not. But,
you can absolutely say what the fuck you want.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, but like. Mentally,
I think at all. Imagine me doing something you don't swear.
It could be PG. You never know.
No, never PG. Carry on.
But yeah. So I think that way, yeah. But I don't think. Trying to think how to word it. Fucking hell, useless. With like putting the hours in. I mean, so if the amount of hours I spent on the games, I would not be interested in the things I'm in now. To be fair, because I think a lot of it does always go back to, because I'm really interested in like ancient Rome and things like that, and that's all because of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I mean, and then the same as like the USSR. I'm so interested in all that stuff in the Soviet Union, and it's all because of Call of Duty
4. Yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, I've had holidays going to these different countries, just around because I played these games.
Yeah.
Like, I went to Rome because of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I went to Kiev because of COD 4.
Yeah.
And, you know, all these different things I'd gone and done, it's just because of games. So, yeah, I think I'm glad I put the hours in. But then you can think about the negatives of the hours that you put in, and maybe like friendships and relationships that you could have had. And instead of it,
I agree.
mean, how many of those friendships have I got now? I'm happy with what I've got now. And to be fair, it's because of the hours I put in. So it's catch-22, isn't it? So, I mean,
I don't even think it is. I think really for me anyway, it's a wholly positive experience, because the other things that it taught you that it was okay to be competitive, right? Now, of course, some of the ways that competitive spirit comes out in a Call of Duty 4 lobby when there is no things as party chat, like, my God. But I think even that is important, because it gave you an outlet. It gave you an outlet where you could be as visceral as you wanted, but then you still had to answer for that thing. Whereas the likes of Twitter and Instagram and whatever now, Facebook, you can create an account and you can say whatever you want to people, and there's no consequence. There's no reparations.
Yeah.
Whereas at least on Call of Duty 4, or when we were playing it on Modern Warfare 2 or whatever, if somebody was talking shit to you in the lobby and you then dominated them in the game, that's still some form of repercussion.
Yeah, right? It is. Yeah.
And, you know, for those of you that don't know, Call of Duty 4 is I mean, if you don't know of Call of Duty, then Jesus, you must be living under a rock. But a massive game title where it's military based. It's a first person shooter where you basically run around the map and kill people, and that's kind of it. And me and Ben and a number of other friends got pretty good, and spent a lot of time. And I mean, I've said in the podcast, and I think it's fair to say that we essentially played semi-pro, because we were playing with some people that are now professional players, and equally, you know, we did game battles and all that sort of stuff. And I remember when we did that 2v2 versus those German people, and we got absolutely murked by RPGs. It's just crazy. That was ridiculous.
I choose to not remember that.
But I think, you know, the other side of it is all the things that you've already said, reaction times and all this sort of stuff, and interest in various things are important. But it also taught you that, you know, we could go into a public lobby and just have fun. We don't need to try. And then we go into the lobbies where, you know, you're playing against other semi-pros and you get decimated by somebody like, oh my God, there's levels. Yeah. There's serious levels. And, you know, what were we in the leaderboards? We were like top 500 in the leaderboards, even with the hackers. And, you know, that's nuts. A leaderboard of millions of players, and we're up there, you know, and it's just stupid. But we get to a point where I think it teaches you life lessons as well as anything else, because, you know, we talk about those lobbies. It teaches you how to take that sort of stuff, and you can either use that in a positive way or a negative way. It teaches you how to take criticism. It teaches you that, you know, there's all of these things that the game will teach you outside of the things that you've already mentioned, right?
Definitely. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, you think about when you're playing the game online, you're coming up against anyone in the world. Like, you know, it's not just people in Telford or people in London. Yeah. It's the whole world, and all these different characters you're coming up against. And you learn, to be fair, thinking about it, you do learn how to react to different people with different situations. And I mean, that's probably, I don't know how to explain it, but to be able to, because you can come up against someone who is extremely aggressive and like chat shit to you, you know, say shit about your mom, all that stuff, and then you come up against someone else that's like the complete opposite, and you feel guilty for like just destroying him because then they'll be, oh yeah, you play really well, man. It's like, oh fuck, I was chatting shit about you and I was playing against you. I was like, you're shit. But, yeah, so I think it's crazy to be fair, because it does help you learn, or it helped me learn anyway. People can be completely different, and I mean, there's so many different characters, and you do come up against. Well, I've said, you know, it's amazing to be honest. I'm kind of, and just going back to when you were saying about us being so high up, it upsets me still to this day. We didn't pursue it a bit more, because, I mean, well, hindsight is 2020, but I mean, if I knew that, you know, if I just carried on putting in them hours and I'd come out with some sort of team, it's a different kind of life, isn't it?
It is a different kind of life. And I think that this is probably, I mean, again, there's now a very, very legitimate revenue stream from esports, and especially from Call of Duty, where you've got the big teams that are earning millions, right? Millions a year from various streams and sponsors and then competitions. And, you know, there is a UK team now called the London Ravens, and I mean, they're okay. They're sort of middle of the pack, right?
Yeah.
But these guys, you know, I mean, I don't know these guys personally, obviously, but you know, I agree with you. I think that if we'd have continued, there is absolutely no reason why we couldn't have been in something like that.
Exactly.
There's absolutely no reason. And we were only a year or 2 years away from it, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? I mean, we played it so much because we enjoyed it, and we didn't play it because, you know, we knew there was going to be something coming out of it, you know? And I think, I think maybe if things would have been different, if we knew we could have got something out of it, maybe we'd have played it more. Maybe we would have got sick of it quicker. You know what I mean? We might, instead of putting like 12 hours a day into it, we put 16 or something. And that extra 4 hours a day obviously adds up, and we might just get sick of it, you know, a lot sooner than we did. Well, I didn't get, I would never ever get sick of COD 4 actually. But that's the thing, I did get sick of all the other CODs afterwards. So I think if there's money involved, I wouldn't, well, I don't know, maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. It depends.
I think that you've just touched on something that relates to so much more than just Call of Duty, right? And that's that when you put a vast amount of time into something just because you enjoy it, not because there's necessarily an incentive other than enjoyment, then you don't get bored of it, right? No. And not just you not get bored of it, you don't care about what the outcome is other than enjoyment. And the thing that Call of Duty gave me is, one, it gave you an escape from the boredom of school and whatever else, and real life. Like, let's not get away from it. You could be somebody and we could be successful, quote unquote, on a game when we were 13, 14 years old. Yeah. That we couldn't do yet or at all in real life. Like, we couldn't go and be in the military and execute some of the things that we execute in the game. One, because it's just not possible. No. And two, because, you know, the amount of time it would take to get to the training and everything else, yada. Yeah. But I agree that I don't have regrets necessarily because, you know, we are where we are. But I do think that, you know, Call of Duty 4, there wasn't really a pro scene for Call of Duty 4. Modern Warfare 2 is really where it started, and we put a lot of our eggs into the Call of Duty 4 basket. I mean, we were good at Modern Warfare 2. Let's not get away from it. We were good, but nowhere near as good as we were for Call of Duty 4. You know, when Modern Warfare 2 hit, exams started and puberty started and all that sort of stuff, and we were in a position where we had different interests than just playing games. But I do wonder a lot of the time how far we could have got. I do wonder a lot of the time. I have thought about it. I'd be lying to say I haven't thought about it like more than once. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, when Modern Warfare, when COD 4 got remastered and I played that, like, I could feel it. Like, the game was a little bit different, but not much. I think the difference mostly was how people were playing, the new crop of players. Yes. But I was playing and I was like, I'm still good at this game. Like, the engine and the physics still work the same way. Like, I'm still good at this game. And I play Warzone now, the newest COD title. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm good at that game too. Like, I'm nowhere near pro level, obviously, but I'm like, it's still there. Like, yeah. You still got the ability. Yes. It's just, like you say, I mean, with the remaster and the new COD, I don't know. I hate, and you should. I mean, to show like the form of a decent kind of player of anything or person or sportsman, should I say, is that you adapt to different opponents. Maybe I haven't put enough time in to adapt to the new kind of competition, but I fucking hate it, and I just don't even. I don't know. I mean, I was fucking sick of it. I played the Warzone a few times, and I just got bored of it. People just hiding in corners and shit, and I can't do that stuff. I get impatient. So yeah, and I think that does speak to what Call of Duty 4 really was. Like, Call of Duty 4 was running good. There was obviously very tactical decisions that you made, but a lot of it was tactical based on the position that you were in the map, rather than as you say, a different CODs. And I mean, that kind of is the same at the pro level. You don't see much hiding in corners at pro level, really.
No.
But it's because they don't have the time, right? The games move so quickly, and I think maybe that's all historical from Call of Duty 4, because that's exactly how Call of Duty 4 was. You didn't have time really to hide in corners because people were on you all the time. And then it became a question of whose reactions were quicker and who knew the map better and who knew, this, that, and the next thing better. And we just put such a vast amount of time into that I mean, when I talk to people about it, I was like, we knew those maps like the back of our hand.
Yeah, I probably still do. I mean, you can think it through in your head, and you can think of a certain map, and you can think of what you're going to do, where you'd go from spawn, and if you depend on what side
aid spots were, where respawns were, etc.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I've spoken a little bit before about this is kind of an indication of the level that we were at. Do you remember when we used to? I can remember 2 games that we used to do. One was Pipeline, one was Backlot, where there'd be a team of 6 of us, and we'd all hide, and one person had to play the whole game on their own.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember we used to win 1 versus 6 players, and we'd win. It's ridiculous, but yeah, I don't know. I think the downside, I guess, is, as you say, there's opportunities that potentially were missed. Yeah. But I do think on the whole that it was a really, really positive experience for me. And, I still enjoy gaming. You still enjoy gaming. It's something that still is rich in our brains and rich in our lives, I guess. I mean, how often do you game now?
I'll say quite often still, not as often as I used to. Not like
sure. I mean, I don't think we have 12 hours a day to play the games.
No, I don't. Well, yeah, I'll play a few hours a night, in the evening or afternoon, or whatever. It depends as well. I more prefer like social games now as well.
Yes.
So, I mean, I played the recent Assassin's Creed. I did enjoy it, but I think that's because of lockdown. So I've had time.
Yes.
There's a new game that I'm playing currently. It's called Among Us. It's on on the PC, and it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like 10 people, and 2 people are like imposters. They're called, and so they're pretending to be good, and obviously they got to go around and kill the other 8, and the other 8 have to find out who the killers are, and while repairing the ship that they're in. And aim of the game is the 2 bad guys to kill the whole team. The rest of the team, the good guys, have to repair the ship or find out who the bad guys are and get them voted out, basically. Because every time a body is found, there's like a voting period if someone finds a body.
Okay.
And then they decide you can then talk and either blag your way out of it if you're the murderer, or try and put it on someone. It's quite fun because you get to see how people it's like speech 100 kind of thing. Like if they're good at talking and being able to chat shit and all that stuff. So it's pretty fun. It's only £4.
Mate, bargain. Is that a Steam game?
Yeah, you should get it.
Yeah, I'll get it. Fuck it, why not? But
it's good laugh. But yeah, I'm more into now like just having a laugh than seriously playing.
I agree. Now the difference I have is when I play Warzone, I absolutely play to win every single time.
Well, I'm not playing that. I'm not playing Warzone to have a laugh. If I'm going to play a competitive game like that,
it has to be to win.
Yeah, the same as like Halo or COD or whatever.
Oh God, Halo, Jesus.
Oh, I'm back on the Halo hype now. It's good fun.
Yeah, mate, that's another game that we poured a lot of hours into. Me, less so. I didn't put as much hours, but I mean, nobody was as good as Callum, but
Callum was unreal.
He was.
Mulligan's better than Callum. Sorry, Callum. I can't believe I just said that. I can't believe because now Mulligan. If Mulligan listens to this, he won't let it down. So don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's a shame. Yeah. It's a shame that we didn't do that stuff.
Well, I mean, everything happens for a reason. So I mean,
does it? I mean, it does. It's a huge cliche. I think it does, but I think I fucking hate that cliche so much. But I want to talk a little bit about the coronavirus stuff. I mean, I know that and how it affected you. Like, let's start there. How did you find lockdown? Not that we're in lockdown now, but actually, have you seen the news today?
Oh, mate, yeah, fucking hell. Like, what is it? What the gathering of 6 people?
Yeah, Monday. So the news. We're recording this on the 9th of September. The news came out yesterday evening / this morning that Boris is going to now make it law, so proper law this time.
Yeah.
It's going to be illegal for you to gather socially in groups of more than 6. Now, that means things like, well, I mean, anything social, essentially. But my question is going to be, there are businesses that are entirely derived around social activity, whether that be a gym, whether that be a pub, a bar, a restaurant, whatever. Like, how's that going to work? What do you mean by groups of 6? Do you know what I mean?
I read into it, and they've obviously given exceptions for certain things like weddings and things like that.
Okay, fine, yeah, sure. Weddings,
classrooms and offices and all that stuff.
But that's not social. That's work, right?
Well, that's true, I suppose.
And that's what my question is about classification. Is it's like, well, okay, if, like, let's say a gym, right?
Yeah.
Well, a gym is a business, therefore there's work.
Yeah. Well, it's not social, is it? If they say gyms, they can't.
No, but then, like, this is my point, right? So if you're going to use a gym, you're not paid. That's not your occupation to use a gym.
No, you're paying to use it.
Right. It's leisure.
Yeah.
But is leisure social?
It depends how you look at it, doesn't it?
Right. Exactly. I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know what the classification of that is.
I mean, all I've kind of interpreted it as is, don't go out with more than 6 people. Pubs, restaurants, parks. I'm assuming it's everywhere, or is it just in enclosed spaces, or is it in put like open spaces?
What I read this morning is that two households can mix, even if there's more than 6 people.
Okay.
But what they're saying is a single person from 6 households
can't mix.
Well, that's the limit of what you can mix, right?
Okay. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So what about? So if that means, I suppose it would be. So say if like 3 people from one and then 3 from the 3 others, that'd be fine.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh well, I mean that's what they're saying at the moment. Right. But what do you think? Like, how does it make you feel when you see that it kind of feels like a slow decline back into another lockdown?
It's weird because I think lockdown for some people is necessary just because they're so stupid that they don't know how to actually obey the rules, or like, not know how to like social distance, or don't know how to do things like differently now because it's not the same as it used to be. That makes sense. Like, so it's difficult because another lockdown will never happen. I don't think.
Really?
Well, I don't see how. I think before the reason why it was just because of like we didn't know what to do. If you look at like the cases now and compared to the deaths, we know how to contain it now or control it, and it's difficult because I mean it's a difficult one because I don't think it will, just because I think the economy is already screwed as it is. I think they are thinking about the economy more than anything, and it will like ruin the economy even more. And well, I don't really think anyone wants to be in a recession for the next, I don't think how many years it's going to be because of lockdown 2. Like lockdown 1, there'll probably be a certain amount of time. There'll be lockdown 2, lockdown harder. Fucking, it's going to be. I don't know. It'll ruin the world because we're not the only country that's got it. You know what I mean? So it's going to be. I don't know. It's a difficult one to really talk about because you can say all about the economy, and then you'll be accused of not caring about people's lives. But
well, that's the base statements of left versus right?
Yeah, and my argument to that is personally depending on how long a recession is, how many lives are going to be lost due to recessions.
Sure.
Because I mean, I know what's going on now is horrible, and I wouldn't wish it upon anyone to go through this ordeal because it's a pain in the ass, and it can affect people in a lot of ways. But if the recession is going to last for God knows how long, and people are going to struggle financially, how many suicides will there be because of financial losses?
Yeah, so this was kind of my point, was there is obviously, to some degree, and we can argue about what that degree is, of threat to people's lives via coronavirus. But, recently we saw the US come out with some updated figures, and it's not 500,000 deaths, it's more like 10,000 deaths, which is, largely different.
Yeah.
And the same in the UK. Like, it's almost certain that if America have inflated their numbers, then it's almost certain that the UK has done the same thing or a similar thing. There is also the collateral damage of something like a lockdown, as you said. If people don't have money and the government don't have money to feed these people, then people are going to die from things like starvation and loneliness and suicide and all of these types of things. So what the real death toll is of something like coronavirus is not just, or the coronavirus lockdown is not just the death toll from symptoms of coronavirus. And there's lots of things here to unpack, I think, and this comes because it's such a human problem in that it's being dealt with by humans.
Yeah.
And that's that, we talk about the inflated numbers, and this is something that really just strikes me as ultimately human, and that's, doctors in America, like hospital owners in America, were receiving money based on the amount of infected people or coronavirus cases they had. So they would take a patient in. Well, not even lie. Like lying is a difficult word, but like somebody would come in, they'd be like, "Have you got a cough?" And they were like, "Yeah, I had one 2 weeks ago." They're like, "Coronavirus."
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think money.
Because in the same vein, like, it's not just greed thinking money. It's also, we have a hospital that has 500 employees.
Well, that's what I mean. It's not,
if we don't get money, we can't keep staff, right? Exactly.
That's what I'm not saying it's money for greed. I'm saying it's money to keep afloat. I mean, the more money they can get, the more money, the better they'll be.
Agree.
Like, totally, like the whole hospital, like you said.
Agree. And I just want to add a different sort of turn on your point about left and right. Like, I think especially now that we've spent a little bit of time with the virus sort of circulating and being around, I think that choice should be paramount here. And I think that there should be a choice. If you, as Ben Davies, wanted to go back to work full time, you should be allowed to do that. In the same vein, I think if I, as me, wanted to not work whatsoever, go on either on furlough or just not get paid, because I was fearing for my safety and for the people around me's safety, that should also be acceptable. But I think it's a problem when you're taking away people's rights and people's ability to make choice about their autonomy, right? What they actually do with their life.
Yeah. I think it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because if you say, right, the furlough is going to last forever, no one's going to go back to work, are they?
I disagree. I'll give you an example, and my example is Imogen. Imogen was on furlough. Every single day, she would message her manager to be like, is there anything I can do to help? Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do the next thing? That's not because she necessarily enjoys her job, but it's because she's somebody that wants to work.
Yeah. Right? I get your point, but I mean, I think it obviously does depend on how many people want to work is the question.
Right. Well, that's a very different question from saying people just aren't going to go back if they've got furlough, right?
Well, that's what I mean, though. I mean, how many people... I know a lot of people that are in jobs that don't enjoy the jobs, but do it because they need the money.
Sure.
And
common, yeah.
If they're obviously being furloughed, and then the government have said, right, we don't know what's going to happen, so this furlough is going to last for the next 50 years. You can choose whether to go back to work or live on this furlough for the next 50 years. And I know a lot of people that were like, fuck that. Like, why the fuck would I go back somewhere I hate and when I can just get 80% of what I'm earning by sitting at home? I can earn the other 20% by doing something I might enjoy on the side.
I think that actually that could be almost a really positive thing. It would be almost certainly negative in the long run. But what I mean by that is, if you've got a population that is essentially forced into laziness or doing something they want to do, figuring out what that is, you're going to have mass starvation, right? Because people aren't going to, taxes will rise and inflation will rise and the furlough amount will stay exactly the same.
Yep.
So which means people will have a very, very simple choice, and that will be food or something else.
Yeah.
Right? But you're also going to find that plenty of people that either didn't have the time to do idea X that they've been sat with for the last 15 years are going to actually do that thing and put time into that thing.
Yeah.
I think, this sort of, and it's a very squirrely comparison, but do you know how Google treat their employees?
No.
So this may not be a current thing, but previously, I was not offered a job, but somebody sort of floated the idea of me going to work for Google. And I just had a very brief chat with somebody about it. And basically what they said was how the work schedule works for Google, or is derived in Google, is let's say you are a programmer, let's just say. 60% of your work will be mandated by your manager or your team or whatever the business is. 40% of your work is entirely up to you.
Okay.
So you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Now, if whatever you want is playing Call of Duty 4,
yeah,
and if you can prove in some fashion that directly impacts your work, cool, crack on. If you wanted to build whatever in programming and you wanted to just program an app that did something, whatever it is, you could do that. That's fine. They'll pay you for that. Now, we can get into the question of, how, intellectual property rights and all this sort of stuff, but there is an understanding that people have ideas that are outside of the realm of what they're currently doing.
Yeah.
Like, it would be interesting to see what the results would be.
Yeah, I mean, it would. I mean, like you say, it would. A lot of people would do something because, well, they can't just not do anything forever. In the sense that, I mean, they can get paid not do anything, but you can't just sit at home watching TV for your whole life.
I agree.
Insane. So I get what you point. I get what you mean. And your point on that, I don't know. I think when I was going back to what I was saying, I think an economy point of view, it'd be shit. But like you say, in the long run, anyway, it's like you say. But if you told me you could be on furlough for the next 10 years or whatever, and in that free time, explore your options, like you said about, people will do their projects that they couldn't do because they hadn't had the time, or it would just be time for that, wouldn't it really? Because it would be money because they're on less money. But it does give you the time to explore them options. So I think it could be beneficial and it could be not so beneficial. So I don't know. But I don't know. It's difficult.
I think that maybe this is me being too optimistic, but I honestly feel like the vast majority of people want to do something. I think that the vast majority of people would get bored and would search for some kind of meaning after a certain amount of time on furlough, right? And again, I'll use Imogen as an example, or I'll use myself as an example afterwards. Like, the first 4 to 5 days of furlough, Imogen was like, sound, just get up a little bit later, have a little bit of a lie-in, just chill, watch the Netflix series you've wanted to watch, do this, do that, do the next thing. And after that, it's kind of like, all right, but what now?
Yeah.
Like, what do I do now? What happens now? And then you're searching for things, clawing for things, thinking of things that you can do. And, you see, for the YouTube viewers, like, behind me is a black wall. That was white at the start of lockdown. Yeah. You see the sofas? They weren't here before lockdown. See the paintings? They weren't here before lockdown before, right? What happened was boredom set in, and Imogen has a really good eye for interior design and was kind of like, I want to change the lounge. And I was like, all right, what do you want to do? She's like, I'm going to paint it black. I was like, okay, all right, cool. Sure, paint it black. And this is where we are, right? We now have a black living room. So
all 4 walls black?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the kitchen is not. Kitchen is still the color scheme it was, but the lounge is black. Yeah.
Wow. Very dark.
And yeah, like the bedroom was redone. She redid all the bedrooms.
Yeah.
She redid essentially everything, right? And that took her about a week and a half. And then again, she was like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
What do I do now? So, and for me, when I go on holiday, like you are somebody that also does this, but when you go on holiday, it's very unlikely that you're going to go on holiday and sit by a pool for 2 weeks.
No, not a chance.
You're going to want to do something.
Not even a day, man. Yeah. Okay, I get you, mean. Yeah, it's a good example.
So I think inherently, like holiday is supposed to be the time you're taking away. It's supposed to be the time you're having a break, resetting from everything. And yet here you are wanting to do something.
Yeah, looking for something to do. Yeah.
Right.
I think, yeah, you're not wrong. But I think it depends on what the people want to do, you know what I mean? And the people's like ambition for what it is and all that stuff. Like, depends on what you want to do, I think. Because if you say, oh, I can use this time to be a footballer, it's not fucking happening. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Maybe. So you got Keith, 40 years old. You can be like, you know what, I'm using this furlough time to train up and get in the starting lineup for Chelsea or something like that, you know what I mean?
But then, you know, this is obviously that's a vastly extreme example, but Keith at 40 could probably make his local pub team, right?
Yeah.
Or a Sunday league team somewhere. Like, that's probably possible. I mean, he might be an absolute shithouse, right? But either way, like, I think that, like, you're right. But I think that the point I'm trying to make is it would be a good social experiment because people would understand when they're kind of like the thing about not liking your job is it's also comfortable, right?
Yeah.
Because having a job that you don't like but pays your bills is comfortable. It's comfortable enough because you still go every day. It's not uncomfortable enough that you don't look for something else. Now, of course, there are obviously like single mothers, for instance, that don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
And their choice is feed their kids or do a job they hate. And that's not really something that I'm covering here. But I think that where you were coming from, and maybe I'm assuming, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, is like the mentality of Telford, right? Where they're going to do something they want to do. I thought so. They're going to do something they want to do. They don't want to do just because it pays their money and they can complain about it in the pub on a Friday night, right?
Yeah.
Those people are people that are comfortable in their routine.
Yeah.
Right. But what would be really interesting is if you take that comfort away from them, because they still have some form of purpose because they turn up to that job every day and they clock in and they do their 8 hours or whatever it is and they clock out again. So they still have a reason to get up in the morning. But when all the Netflix is watched and all the films are watched and, you know, whatever it is has been finished, all those social things that they determined were this high effort value, what happens?
Yeah.
Because as you say, somebody with an idea, let's say, like, give me an idea. If I gave you unlimited time and I said to you, do something with it, what would you do?
What's the budget?
Well, the budget is furlough.
What's the furlough? It's like maximum $2,500, isn't it? So am I taking them $2,500 a month because of the furlough, or? Well,
I mean, let's take an average wage, right? So an average wage is probably about 22 to 25 grand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're taking home 2K a month, 80% of 2K a month, let's say you're taking 1,800 to 1,600 home a month.
Yep. Okay.
What do you do?
Well, for me, I mean, with that amount of money, you can't do what I'd want to do because I'd like to like buy houses, renovate them, flip them, and sell them.
But how do you know you can't do that? Because my point is if you're in a furlough position, or house prices will likely crash.
You do need a deposit. I mean, technically, if we're speaking from 2020 and how things are going, you need a deposit to buy a house.
Sure.
But say there's a furlough for 10 years and things might change. But I don't know.
I mean, how much do you need for a deposit? Because you could go to an auction and get a house for fucking nothing, right?
True. So you say 70 grand house
Right, and if you go and get it at an auction for 70 grand, your deposit is 10%.
Yeah,
you can put
7 grand.
You could put 7k together on a furlough scheme on 1,600 to 1,800. You could put that together.
It depends on your current living situation, doesn't it, as well?
Sure, but we're talking about you.
Yeah, me. Yeah, personally, yeah, I could definitely. Yeah,
right.
And that's what I'd do. I'd save up, get a deposit, buy a house, renovate it, flip it. That's the example.
Now, what I would love to see is that, as all of these ideas would do, they sound wonderful on the outset. But I wonder what happens when people run into, you buy that house at 70 grand, you realize it's got asbestos everywhere.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You fix the asbestos, and then you realize that one of the walls is faulty and you've got to rebuild it.
Yeah.
And then all the electrics are all fucked and you've got to do that. And then this and this and this and this. And I wonder how much people would invest effort and struggle and their willingness to complete that task.
Well, I mean, that's another thing that you can add on to it, isn't it? Like, I mean, personally, with something like that, and like you say, if it's something that you like is kind of like your dream, you could say that's what, like, that is technically my dream job. So for something like that, I would be determined to get it done. Obviously, money would be an issue, but if I'm on 1,600 a month taken in, hopefully I should be able to cover like the asbestos. And also, it just depend on your background information too. Because with something like that,
you have a limited time.
Yeah, but you can't do electrics in a house if you're not qualified.
But can't you? I mean, bearing in mind, but
if you're going to sell it, no, you can't. If you're going to sell it, you have to get it inspected, and that's just more money.
Right, but then if you've done, I mean, obviously I don't know. I'm merely playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. Yes.
But if you chose to teach yourself via YouTube, let's just say, right?
Yeah.
And you managed to get the electrics all working, everything perfect, would it cost you more money to get it inspected, or would it cost you more money to outsource it to somebody to do it in the first place?
It depends how much work needs doing. If the whole house needs doing, like a rewire, it depends, because you got all the time in the world, it would be cheap to just get inspected. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
But that being said, it is. I like personally, I don't 100% know the ins and the outs.
Sure, of course.
Because I'm pretty sure anyone could do electrics in their own home. Like, it's legal, but you can't do it in someone else's home.
I mean, look, I did.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I didn't do it well, and I had to call you, and you sorted me out. But I did it.
Yeah,
right?
You can do it.
So, this is kind of my point, right? Like, let me change the point, and I'll do it a little bit more globally. Like, you went to Rome, right? So you went and saw the Basilica.
Yep.
St. Peter's Basilica. Right?
Yep.
And you stared at it, and it probably did. I mean, how did you feel when you looked at St. Peter's Basilica?
Sure. Wow.
Right.
What a sight.
And then you also realize that the guy that designed it never got to see it built.
Yeah.
Because it took hundreds of years to build it.
Yeah.
Mad. People were so invested in building that thing.
Yeah. Was that because they wanted to, though, or was that because they were made to?
I mean, that's probably up for debate, but at some point, some faction of that, some percentage of that person was actually interested in making it.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah, of course.
Because if whoever designed it, I can't remember. Do you know who designed it?
No.
Okay. Well, whoever designed it,
look it up.
Yeah, I could look it up. Jamie, pull that shit up. Yeah, like if somebody had designed it, and the person that took on that design afterwards, they had to have some level of interest to even keep it going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
But these sorts of projects that take hundreds of years, when people had one sole purpose in life, and that was to execute task X. If we had the ability to do something similar, or if we had the energy and the time and the focus to put it into something similar, I think that many people would find a lot more pleasure than they do right now.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Because, again, just like going back to how we started, I mean, if you can do whatever you want without having to worry about money, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
I think then you'd see very clearly the people that and this is kind of maybe this is a little bit controversial, but then I think you'd see the people that were destined to survive and the people that weren't. Because some people would thrive in that environment. If money wasn't a thing, some people would thrive, and some people would just sit at home and eat and get fat and not do anything. They would.
Well, that's like the current situation is now, really, isn't it? Not because of lockdown, but just now. That's how it is. Some people are just happy with sitting at home, taking home, universal credit paycheck from month to month, and just eating shit. And
some people,
yeah,
a very small percentage, but some people.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying the countries. The whole countries like that. Yeah, just from personal experience is what I've seen. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think I think eventually, if it was something like that, eventually everyone would be all the same, not sit at home do nothing, but everyone would have some sort of meaning and want to do something if that was the case. Because eventually, I'm not saying I would convince you to get off your ass and do something. I'm saying, you would be like your great grandchildren would then be like, oh, I'm not going to follow in Harry's footsteps. I want to do this instead. I want to do this. I want to do that. And eventually, I think it all work down to that. Because
and I feel
you'd be persuaded by your society.
Lineage. Yes. The historical viewpoint of society would be that you could do whatever you wanted if you put enough time and effort into it. Right? Yeah. And that's something that we speak about a lot. And our mate that's going to be 40 soon and is going to break into the Foresters first team, right?
Oh,
that's something that I think should be celebrated in a way. Somebody that's willing to put time and effort into something that may even be futile, right? Like, I think this is the other point is if you love it, whatever it is, if you love it, it doesn't matter. Just do it.
Yeah.
Like the house, let's say you put 7K into the house and you put another 10K into it in expenses and whatever, and nobody will fucking buy it. It looks like absolute shite, but you enjoyed it and you loved it and you enjoyed every minute of it. To me, that's still a success.
It is in a way. It depends on how you look at it again, isn't it? Like, it depends how you go into it with the idea. I mean, if you buy the house with the thought, I want to make a profit out of this, and that's what I'll enjoy the most.
Yeah.
You can still enjoy the journey of repairing it and refixing it and everything like that. But I still think if you can't, and it still looks like shit, and you can't sell it for a profit or anything like that, I don't think you will enjoy it. You'll look back at it and think, that was fucking wank. And you won't think about the times you enjoyed. You'll think about you hated it all because of how the end point came.
But do you think, though, that because what you said earlier is people, people do the things that they love because they love it, right? The Call of Duty thing.
Yeah.
We spent all that time because we loved it, not because we thought there was profit in it.
Well, yeah, okay. So with the dream of the housing thing, then maybe I gave a bad example because the housing thing is more of a money-based dream.
Mm-hmm.
That's realistic.
Which is interesting, right? Because if I said to you, you've got all the time in the world. What do you want to do? And your thing was, the first thing you thought of is financial incentives.
Yeah. Interesting. I think if I can give you another example, it probably would be just to, I don't know, concentrate on my body, get into like a good physique, and and maybe work on a sport. That's probably the example I give.
See, I like that though.
Yeah.
Because I think that in a way is quite philosophical and almost religious in some fashion, because you're saying the thing that I've been given, the meat vehicle that I'm rolling around this earth in, like you're aware that you're not utilizing it to its potential, essentially. And it's something that you would do if you had the perceived amount of time.
Yeah.
Now, my counter argument to this is going to be, why don't you do that now?
Well, I mean, you can technically say I am.
I mean, I agree, but then
I think it's again. I think it's more of the reason why I'm not, doing these strict diet or this ridiculous fitness regime to get me into like a, I don't know, chiseled to fuck like 1.1 to 2% body fat kind of thing. It's probably because of the situation we're in, probably, I could say. And then, well, there would always be an excuse, to be fair. Like, I will not do it now because it's a shit situation, and I won't do it next year because I'm too busy for work. And I think I should have done it then. So, I mean, and I also think because I've got other things on my mind, it's not top of my list.
Priorities.
Whereas if I didn't have other things on my mind, like work and money and things like that, it probably would be higher on my list. Because I mean, what to be fair, priorities on my list at the moment with the way things are, probably is work and money. So if that wasn't as high as it is, because like we say, because we don't have to work, it's right down the bottom. Working on my physique and that stuff would be top or near the top.
So, go on.
No, I was going to say because exercise is fun. It's shit when you start, but then once you get into it and your body releases all this chemical and shit, you enjoy it.
I mean, I think it depends on what the exercise is, right? Like, like if I said to you, go and play a game of football.
Yeah.
Right. One, you've just said foot running, but football is running, right?
It depends what position you play.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not a goalkeeper, but I mean, like, still, I think I'm not. Well, just running. I meant to say just running. Yeah. I hate running. Full stop. But I run in a football match.
Of course, and this is kind of my point. If I said to you, I want you to exercise every day, and I want you to play a 60-minute game every day.
Yeah.
You'd have fun doing that.
Yeah.
So. The thing of exercise isn't fun. Again, this is what I'm trying to get at here is there's priorities that define the way that we act. My question to you though is how much autonomy and how much choice, how much influence do you think we have over those priorities?
Well, technically, we have full influence on these priorities, technically speaking.
Right.
But the way society is, I said society before, I don't like repeating like some certain words, but the way society is, it makes you not have full influence on these things. Like money, you know what I mean? That's not money in my life is not because I chose it to be in my life. It brought itself into my life. And it's something I have to think about and worry about because it's been around for years, you know what I mean? It's not out of our control, but it's a major influence.
Out of our control? I mean,
well, I mean the whole point of money, because if I didn't create money, you didn't create money.
Sure, but there's a couple of things that you've said here, and the first one is that you have full influence over your choices, yet you give up that influence to social pressure, societal pressure.
Yeah.
My question, my only little point that I'd make there is, aren't you a part of society?
Yeah. And you do contribute to your own pressures. I get what you mean, you see where you're coming from, but it's one of those things that you can't get away from, and it's not the only thing you can't get away from. There's other things in this life that you have to concentrate on. Otherwise, things fall apart. So the reason why you don't have full influence on everything that you do is because of these things that are coming in that are foreign to you, because they're not your choice. I know you can choose to have it out of your life, but that's when you become homeless, and that's when you become,
or super rich.
Yeah, but
comfortable enough.
But does luck? Is that where luck comes in?
No, I mean, luck's not even real, but
well, is it though? Is it not?
So, I mean, we can have this discussion now. I've had this discussion a few times. Like, let me put out my current thoughts. My current thoughts on luck. I don't believe that the word luck means what it's socially determined to mean. Luck to me is the same thing in the current context of me saying the word luck to you and what I think you think. Let's start there, right? What I believe luck to be in this current day and age, socially, is something that happens by chance, something that's unexplainable.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I disagree with that because I think that there are some things. that are, yeah, essentially. I mean, I think that there are some things that are highly improbable, like the fact that you were born to your mom and dad, where you were born, and you weren't born now in 2020 in Syria.
Well, yeah, but could you not say that's luck again, though?
But my point is, it's not luck, because there must be some form of calculation to determine how and why that happens. Now, my answer, the root of some of these answers is God, essentially.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Right?
Does that mean
That's where we get to.
Being?
That is where we get to, right? Because the calculation of how you got here is pretty simple. Your mom and your dad were in a relationship. They decided to have a child. They had a child. It's you. It's pretty easy to track.
Yeah.
Right. What's difficult to track, however, and it's equally easy to track how you arrived, how the baby that was born from your mother and father's decision to have a child was born where it was born, because that's where they are, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty fucking simple. However, what's difficult to track and difficult to calculate is how you, as the personality you are, and as the composition of who you are, how that arrived into that body. That's difficult to calculate. Doesn't mean it's not calculable, however, which is why, and let me give you my final example for this. Before Isaac Newton and before Albert Einstein, people would have called, in some fashion, what they predicted and what they calculated to either be God or luck or magic, whatever. One of the three things, right? Because essentially magic and luck are basically the same thing. But it would have been one of those three definitions: God, magic, or luck. Somebody then came along and was like, I don't think that that's luck or magic. I think I'm going to be able to demonstrate and calculate it. So they demonstrate and calculate it. And now we declassify some of those things like gravity away from luck, and we give it a name called gravity.
Yeah, I see your point. No, I do get it, to be fair. And whether luck can be a thing as well is another thing, because like you say, when you say about the chances of me being born, you can say for anyone, you can say for a baby being born today, right now, in the UK, and there's a baby being born today, right now, in Syria. What are the chances of that? I mean, I think that's luck. You can say it's a chemical or reaction or whatever, but how I don't know. It gets deep, it gets very deep, doesn't it?
Well,
like,
let's go.
You go down the rabbit hole, and you can say, you know, like it ended up coming out like what came first, chicken or the egg. But I mean, I don't know. It's if you've got a child, not a child. You've got two relationships. One's Syria, one's in the UK. I think it's pure luck that your soul, if you have a soul or whatever it is inside you, picked to go to the UK and not Syria. What makes you where you are? You know what I mean? Where you're born and your life. I think that can be luck. Like I got lucky that I didn't get hit by a car today.
Not true. See, that's easy for me. Those examples are easy. They're easy because you didn't get hit by a car because you didn't fucking leave the house.
I did actually. So fuck you.
You know what I mean, right? Like,
yeah.
And equally, I think if somebody was in a near miss, right, they'd be I was so lucky. No, there's a reason. There is a reason why whatever that thing is missed you.
Instincts or something.
Whatever. It could be that the guy saw you late and swerved in time. It could be that your instincts were like, let me move half a centimeter to the right, and all of a sudden that bullet doesn't hit me, or whatever it is.
But then, is that lucky for you to be born with that kind of instinct?
No.
Because what are the chances?
But chance and luck is a different thing, because chance is calculable. Luck is not.
Well, how do you use... Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Do you see my point?
Yeah. But, I mean, you could then say, well, I'm lucky that person who had better instincts or better reactions than the next person missed me because they were the ones in front of me driving.
But that's not true, because again,
how do you know?
Because you can calculate, you can trace, you can calculate, you can map.
Yeah. Go on, Karen.
So what I was going to say is, let's say we take a car accident.
Yeah.
Right. And we say the person that doesn't get hit by the car says, I was really lucky to not get hit by that car today. Well, if we dissect just the car accident, those 15 seconds of time, then we could easily, not easily because I'm shit at maths, but somebody that's really good at maths could trace every decision that was made from a mathematical and physics perspective and determine how that accident didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're like, oh, but why was that person even there in the first place? Then again, you can trace that back by what decisions did they make that day and how had their life previously affected them to get to the point where they were today, right?
Yeah. But could you not say that's luck?
No, because it can be traced.
Yeah, but can you not say the reason why the things like that happened is pure luck? Could you not say it was lucky for you to be behind the wheel because if it was our friend Ryan,
yeah, sure,
he would have hit me.
Probably, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's a shit driver, but I'm just using him as an example.
But like, it isn't luck because it's not. It's not luck because it is. It is fact.
I don't understand what someone you were saying, because Ryan technically wouldn't be in that position because that's not his way to work. That would be your way to work.
Right. Then it's traceable, right?
So I get that.
If we're able to put a definition on something and we're able to have a conversation about that definition and we're able to trace something or calculate it or classify it in some fashion, I don't think that the word luck can be used. I think luck is lazy English.
So, okay. So I know what you're going to say back to this because it's just another example. And this is like a waste of time. But so you can say, someone says, oh, you were lucky to win the lottery because them numbers that you picked came up by chance. But again, would you say it's lucky to hit that chance?
No, it's fortunate.
What's the difference between? Well, I don't know what the difference is between fortunate and luck. But
then that's your answer.
But I think you can still use the word luck and unfortunate.
Now we're having a language discussion rather than a discussion about the truth or untrue.
Yeah, I get you. I know what you mean.
Because I would agree with you, right? If you want to bend the use of the word luck to merge with fortune because they're kind of in the same family.
Well, then it doesn't mean luck, then, does it?
Exactly. So why would you use it?
Exactly. So, but I'm like I said, technically. With luck, whether I believe it or not is another question, because you can always say things happen for a reason, which is basically technically what you're saying.
Yes, and this is why when you were like, oh, everything happens for a reason, I'm like, yeah, it does, but I fucking hate that cliche. Because again, that's lazy English. It's lazy English or lazy being to be like, let's say you do get hit by the car and you're like, everything happens for a reason. Like, yeah, but let me tell you what the fucking reason was, right?
It's like, stupid.
The reason was because you were looking down at your phone crossing the road, right? Like.
So would you say then, say for example, like a person's in a toxic relationship,
okay,
and you know, I don't know how to explain it. Things were not great. You know, the person was abused in multiple different ways. Yep. Is that unlucky to be with them, or would you blame the person that got abused for getting with them?
Now, so you've just added in a very interesting element, and that's called blame.
Yeah. But again, you can. Oh, another one would be instead of blame, maybe it's just. Well, what would you say?
There's no emotion to luck, and there's no emotion to words in general, right? If we're because let's just say we've just used luck in two forms. One was winning the lottery. Generally, that's deemed as pretty positive.
Yeah.
And you've then said that I was lucky to not be hit by that car. Right? Well, you could say that you were unlucky to be hit by the car.
Yeah.
Well, getting hit by a car is a negative situation. Therefore, the word luck as a word doesn't have any emotion tied to it. It's what we map onto the word that gives it the emotion. So in the same vein, if we look at a toxic relationship, already you've branded the relationship as negative because you've used the word toxic, right?
Yeah.
Well, and generally when we say the word toxic, we think about something that's negative.
Yeah.
Cool. So I wouldn't blame the fact that there is a toxic relationship where somebody is getting abused on anyone because the situation itself is merely a situation.
Okay.
What we can blame, however, is who the abuser is against who the person that's being abused is, right?
Yeah.
That we can put some blame on. That's fine. But to characterize it in luck and unluck doesn't matter, because the situation is what it is. Regardless of where the blame is, regardless of where the emotion is. It's like looking at a mathematical problem. If I said to you, add 2 and take away, get the words, the value 6, add 2 and take away 4. Well, you don't feel sorry for 2 being taken away, do you? No, you don't. It's just the situation that you're dealing with. So in the same vein, if you map that onto something like a toxic relationship, well, we could say, okay, are there psychological factors in the person that's being abused that makes them vulnerable to this kind of behavior? Cool. Yes or no? Don't know. We don't know. No. Is there characteristics that can determine somebody that's abusing somebody else to act that kind of behavior out? Maybe.
Well, maybe, yeah. We don't know. Again.
We don't know, right? But there are lots of environmental factors that we can look into to determine whether this person and that person, 1, should be together, 2, whether they can fix an abusive relationship, or 3, what blame we should be attributing to who, right? None of that is luck, though. Is it unlucky that they're in an abusive relationship? No, because they are. And we could answer why they were in that relationship based on the questions that I just stated.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You could be, it's, again, like I said, I'm just playing devil's advocate, to try and make your brain work.
Sure. I mean, is it unfortunate? Yeah, of course it's unfortunate, because, you don't want anyone to, 1, be in a situation where they feel like they have to abuse other people, consciously or unconsciously. And equally, we don't want anyone to be abused, right? So, I mean, maybe City fans, but there's not something, that's not a situation we want to be in. No. However, if the situation arises, then we must deal with it as a situation, right? Rather than just hiding behind the emotional variables that we have and whatever. So yeah, that's why I don't
believe in luck.
I don't believe in luck. No.
I think like you say, you can give any kind of example and there'll always be an argument towards it, no matter what. It's not just for love of anything, really.
The example is God, right? Yeah. The one that I can't explain. The thing that, like you say, how does the soul, whatever the thing is that makes us us, how does the consciousness of ourselves arrive at the meat vehicle that we're assigned to? I can't fucking tell you, mate. I can't fucking tell you. Which is why if somebody says to me, that's luck, I'm like, all right, cool.
It could be, it might not be, yeah.
I can't argue against that, right? And the only argument you can put is God. But God is the same thing as luck, essentially. In that situation, you're saying, I'm handing off my experience to something that's not me, and something that because I don't have an explanation for this, here's this word, luck or God or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, yes, I mean, I think that potentially one day we'll have an answer for that, right? Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, neither do I, but maybe.
That's a conspiracy theory you can go into. That's another rabbit hole you can go into, isn't it? Maybe we'll
conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
What conspiracy theories do you know?
I'm saying that could be a conspiracy theory.
Right.
I'm saying, it might not be God, it might just be aliens. It might be, we might actually be just this little ball, like we have ant farms. Someone might just have us on like an ant farm.
100%. The idea that we're living in a simulation, which is similar to what you're saying, is probable, actually. Yeah. Probable.
Do you know what I would like? This is a completely different topic now.
Tell me, yeah, show me.
I don't know about like, I don't know if that's the right word, or what I'd like to happen maybe in the afterlife, if there is an afterlife or anything like that, is you go to, there is a guard. You go to guards, you'd be like, right, guard, I've done that time, what now? And you say, whatever you want. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? I'll be like, let's go to, 1945. Let's see what's going on. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I'd like to be able to like put on like a VR headset and just visualize what happened. I'd experienced like previous times in life or futuristic times. It might be like my soul said, you know what, God, I want to see from 1996 to, I don't know, whenever I'm going to die. Maybe 2100. I don't want to live that long.
Really?
But, similar to that. 104, I think that's too long, maybe.
I mean, okay, so this is vastly interesting to me, and I want to pose something to you, and I will do in a second, but let me deal with the 104 thing first. Like, I honestly think that when we reach 104, it's not going to be 104 as you see it now.
No, I agree. I have already said this because it was my mum's 60th birthday, like last month.
Happy birthday to the queen that is Margarita.
I'll let her know.
Thank you.
I'll let her know. I told her, and I do firmly believe this because I wouldn't say it just because of my mom, but it was her 60th. So I'm sorry, mom, for letting people know that your age. I know you're not supposed to do that. But I think 60 is a new 40.
Probably.
I think if you think about 60-year-olds, I don't know, 60 years ago, they were viewed as old, decrepit, walking sticks, all that kind of stuff. You look at 60-year-olds now, they're like completely different. I mean, you could say 6-year-olds back then were equivalent to what, 80, 90 now?
Maybe.
If that makes sense. So I think you're right. I think when I'm 104, that could be like 80. And I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, I think that medical advancements will definitely allow us to live longer, but longer in a more fruitful way, right?
Yeah.
So you're not 150, but you're acting like you were 150, but you've been like that for 50 years. Like, I think there'll be a time when 100 is like 60 years old.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right. You're not wrong. Because
however, go on. No, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, we're just with how the age of death now, it's just going higher. You look at the death, how old people. I don't know what the word is. I don't know what the actual word is for it. But like people, the elderly death rate or whatever, they'd hit like 60 or whatever, like 200 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now you can live to like 100, and it's not uncommon for someone to hit 100 now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I don't know what the word is, but I don't know what the word is. The death toll? No, right? I don't know. Not death.
Fuck knows, mate.
Yeah, but you get what I mean?
Yeah, life expectancy is a lot longer. Okay,
That's
cool.
it.
Fine.
So I'll pour my drink. Sorry if you hear the noise.
That's fine. Yeah, like life expectancy now is a lot longer for sure. But in the VR headset thing, I'm going to write like a mini dissertation / essay about this because I have some opinions that I think would be good long form. I think we are not that far away from the thing that you just said, but God is going to be Amazon or Samsung or Google. Honestly, I think.
Yeah, I get you.
I think that not too far from now, you're going to be able to purchase a VR headset that will take you anywhere, wherever you want.
Yeah, I think it's possible. My only issue would be with that is not because it's not. I think mainly because it's not real.
But do you?
Well, if you go into a VR headset, you're putting this on, you're looking into it, aren't you?
But for how long? How many times have you watched a film and got lost in it?
A few times, yeah, I get you.
Right. So how about if the VR headset is so cerebral and it overloads your brain with so many sensory triggers that you lose yourself in the VR headset?
That's...
How many times have you lost yourself in a game? How many times have you...
A lot. Yeah, right? I get you. I get what you mean.
So in a film, you can't walk around. You can't do stuff. You're just sat watching it. In the game, it becomes more immersive because you're moving the character and you're doing this and you're doing that.
Yeah.
Mate, if you're in a VR world, you can do what the fuck you want. You want to fly through 1945 in a Concorde? Go on then. You're the pilot. Crack on.
No, I get you. That would be pretty... I think if that is a chance, it'd be great. And like you said, you could get lost in it. So when I was going back to it, is that it's not going to be real. It's because I think when I die, I'm going to choose it. That's when you're actually living in it. You know what I mean? Because I think even if it's just a fly on the wall. You know what I mean? I don't want to be a soldier in like World War II. That'd be fucking gruesome, wouldn't it? Who the fuck wants to do that? You know what I mean? Yeah. I technically won't want to see it, but it'd be interesting to see what the conditions were like.
So do you think then there is a finite amount of souls that are just continuing round and round and round and
like reincarnation?
Kind of, yeah. But
I think there's a possibility.
Yeah. Like, do you think that the soul that you're living right now has been... Because to your point, let's expand that for just a second. Like, if there is and we'll call it God for now just because it's easier. If there is a big fluffy white man on a cloud, obviously, right? Because that's obviously what God is. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, of course. And if you, when you die in this life, you go to that man and he's like, all right, you give him your ticket back from 1996 to 2100. And you're like, that was a cool ride. And he's like, where do you want to go now? And you tap in 1945 to 2010, let's just say. And he's like, all right, sweet. And he gives you a ticket and you go back.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that is how the world works? Because you could theoretically die in 2100, go up to God and be like, all right, I want to do 3100.
Yeah. And
to
go
3000 something.
Yeah. Or go fucking, I don't know, 9000 BC. You know, you can go. I think, I think that's how I'd like it to be, because I say that, but then I don't know, because technically I don't know. You know what I mean?
Sure. Because the question
why would I do it
is,
if I don't know?
The question then is, what is your soul or your consciousness, the thing that travels up to God to get a new ticket?
Yeah.
Is that a one-time deal? Does God reset that when you go back down to earth? Do you keep those memories, but you can't get hold of them? Like, what is it? What is that thing?
I don't know. Technically, it can't be, because unless you don't keep the memories, but what's the point in doing it? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think, I don't know, I think there could be a potential of where souls are recycled in life. Maybe not to pick and choose what era they go into, but I think maybe 2020 is the furthest it's gone, but the souls have gone, the recycled souls have gone. So I can't go back, can't go forward. I can only say if I die in 2100, I come back in 2100 the same day as a rabbit or as a person.
Whatever you choose.
I don't know if it's something you choose.
You only get because this is
into the hat, and the hatch name just picked out of the hat, and you're like, boom. You know, you go in, you're a snake. Boom, you're a rat. Boom, you're a fly, mosquito. I don't know. And like I said, what I'd like it to be is if that I have a knowledge of it all. I don't personally have a knowledge, but would my soul have knowledge of what I've done? So like, oh, cool. Ben Davies' life is pretty fun. Let's go live in, I don't know, fucking, what's his name? Winston Churchill's life. Let's do that. Or let's go do Julius Caesar's life. Like it's a game. You know what I mean?
It's like it's Assassin's Creed, right?
That's what I'd like.
Honestly, I'm not sure that we're that far away. I think that with everything, there'll be plenty of iterations and phases of this, but I think it wouldn't be too far away for you to put on a VR headset and be on the Hubble spacecraft, or be at Niagara Falls, or be at the pyramids, or whatever. I really, really don't think it's that far away.
Technically, you can do it now already, like Google Earth.
Yes, but what I mean is you would literally put something on your face.
Yeah, you can. You can put a VR headset on and go into Google Earth on your VR headset.
Okay. And could you walk around and stuff?
Yes, but like the man where you click on
you can click the man and you'll
move like that. So it's not like walking around.
Right, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, I get. So we're actually almost physically there.
Right, and what's so interesting is you said, and we'll almost be physically there, but you're absolutely nowhere near it physically, no. And that comes to my point of, what is this? Like, what is this a simulation? Because think about it, right? Think about it like a game. Throughout the game, a game is only fun because you progress.
Yeah.
Right. If you regressed and you got worse over time throughout the game, it wouldn't be a fun game.
No.
Right? Like let's take Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty is fun in some way because you get to unlock new shit for your guns to make it better or make it more personable to you, right? Cool. So then my point is why, like, if this is a simulation, then the understanding that humans have progressed is so logical.
Yeah, it is. You do it. It makes sense.
Because why wouldn't you? right?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you progress?
Well, exactly. Because like you say, in games, yeah, exactly what you hit the nail on the head. It is almost equivalent to a game.
Exactly.
But could that be because the only reason we view it like that way is because people have viewed life as progression, and they've made life into a game. Instead of us comparing games to life, they're comparing life to games.
I think that I completely agree, understand what you're saying. However, progression is burst from survival. So progression for a caveman would be staying alive.
Yeah.
It would be killing more animals than the Donny 100 meters away that's trying to steal your wife.
Yeah.
Right. And it's also keeping your wife long enough that she gives birth to some children that you can then keep in the tribe and continue. Right.
Yep.
That's what progression used to be. Progression then survival was then like fire and weapons and things like that. But that's when it turns into something like progression. Because now there's no need for us to build fire. You've got a radiator in your gaff.
Yeah.
Or if you're really fancy, you've got underfloor heating, right?
Treated.
Mate, tell you. Serious. Or as you can see in the background of my image, candles, right? If you really want fire, right? But it's like, now the necessity for survival is so small because survival has been taken care of in such a vast quantity of factors that now what's peeled back almost is this innate want for progression. And the way that we're progressing, and this is kind of the basis of the essay I want to write, is that progression and evolution are, again, similar things.
Yeah.
And I feel like the way that humanity is progressing is away from bodies, away from meat vehicles, away from the necessity to have this thing, this skin and organs, this, because really, if you think about it, some of the human thoughts are so incredible.
Yeah.
And they're held together with literally something that's paper thin.
It's mesmerized, isn't it? It's amazing.
It's amazing, but fucking stupid. Like
well,
if you were designing a human body to encapsulate and to hold something as complex as thoughts in the brain,
you would put
you'd put it in a massive fucking steel box thing, right?
Yeah, I get your point, but now, that's evolution, isn't it?
My question, and this is my hypothesis, is what's your computer wrapped in?
Oh, plastic.
And?
Wow, metal, bit of plastic. That's pretty much it.
Do you think it's stronger? If you hit it with a hammer, do you think it would take more blows to break it than your skull would?
Yeah, no. Yes, it would take more blows. Yeah, I think.
Right.
I think one blow to the head would be enough with a hammer.
And maybe 1.5 blows.
Yeah. 1-2 blows to the computer would fuck it up.
Right.
Well, half a blow to the head would fuck you up, to be honest. So.
Right. So my thoughts are that we are uploading, I guess, or downloading, depending on how you want to see it. Maybe both.
Yeah.
What it is to be human into computers. And I'll give you a real world example of this because I know that that's such a vast statement. If I took your phone and your computer away from you, what happens? How do you feel?
Well, I think, what the fuck are you taking away from me? I'd be like, not offended, you know, like, I suppose offended is the right word, actually. Like, why? You know, I'd question it.
And would you feel at all lost without it?
It depends on the situation I'm in.
Well, if you want to speak to Ellen or your mother and you're not in the house.
Oh, yeah, I feel lost without it. I'd be like, what the fuck do I do?
Right. And my point there is that phone is a really important part of your life right now.
Yeah.
And it's almost because you are in that phone. Your life is in that phone. Like if I went to your phone and wiped all of your photos and messages between you and Ellen,
yeah,
you're never going to remember some of that stuff.
True. You forget it anyway. Even the previous things. You see something from 2010. There's certain things you remember. You don't remember every single day.
Of course.
I remember fucking 5 months ago.
Right.
So.
And you think about this, right? And you're like, okay. But then if you go back and you look at the photos from when you and Ellen first got together, for instance, and there was just a random day that you went somewhere, did something, had a photo. Cool.
Yeah.
That day comes back. But it only comes back because
you see the photo.
You see the photo.
Remind yourself of it.
There's a trigger.
Yeah.
Now, the human brain and a computer hard drive are so similar to me. In a lot of ways. In a lot of ways. The human brain is a lot more complex. Let's not get that twisted. But it's just storing shit. And you know as well as I do, if you put too much shit on a hard drive, you've got to delete some stuff.
Yeah.
So a hard drive to me is just a bigger brain in some fashion.
Yeah.
And if what we have in our head is data of some fashion, and we're able to put that data on a bigger hard drive, that seems like an interesting concept to me.
Yeah. It's a good fucking question, really. Like, what the fuck? It bends your mind, that, like, because you think, well, you're not wrong. And obviously a hard drive, and you could always say the hard drive is copying the brain the way it is. And like, I don't know, it's fucking mad.
Because it's things like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and whatever. Like, Twitter is about as close to a brain as you can get, I think, because
it's just people's thoughts.
It's people's thoughts, exactly.
Yeah. And as I look at Twitter now, it's just people's thoughts. Like I say, politics and the way people think about certain things. And
Facebook is the same, but what's crazy about what Twitter and Facebook have done is Facebook is like more than one thought, because you could write like big long paragraphs and big rants and whatever. The thing that was so interesting about Twitter is before you could only do 140 characters, right?
Yeah.
140 characters is like 2 sentences.
Yeah, it's nothing.
That's like a thought.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It is pretty much just what you're thinking. And I'm pretty sure it used to say what you're thinking. So I'm looking at it now, looking at the page now, it says what's happening.
Yeah.
If for like the tweet bar. I can swear that it never used to say what's happening. It used to be like what's on your mind or what you're thinking.
Yeah, Facebook was similar.
And well, that's literally your thoughts.
Exactly. And you have a database, bearing in mind that nothing gets deleted from the internet ever, right? Yeah. Meaning Twitter, every tweet you've got, every Facebook post you've got, whether you delete it or not, is not deleted.
No.
There is a database full of human consciousness.
Yeah.
And at the moment, all we're doing with it, really, productively successfully what we're doing with it, is we're using it to market to people, to sell things, to sway people's votes in political races, to change people's opinions on certain things. It's marketing.
Yeah.
What we're doing successfully is marketing. But that's not all we're doing, right? Like people like Elon Musk and Lex Friedman and these kind of guys, there are massive companies that are working on AI functions, and you best fucking believe that they're using that database of consciousness in order to facilitate that stuff, right? Like, I just don't see any other logical position as to us not becoming some form of computer. Like, I feel like we already are in some fashion.
Well, we are in some fashion, like you say, in memories. You put your memories on your phone or your computer, so you don't have to think about that anymore.
Yep.
But technically, you're in the computer.
It's the same thing. The brain is the processor. The brain has RAM, and then the brain has a hard drive.
Yep.
Things come in, RAM processes it. The processor deals with it. Do I need to do anything with it? Do I need to harvest it anywhere? Do I need to actually take an action? No. Okay, hard drive. Fuck it off.
Yeah, pretty much.
Insane.
And
the thing that's... Go on.
No, go on.
The thing that scares me, one of the things that scares me the most is like during lockdown, I've done, I don't know, this is maybe the 41st episode, I think, of the podcast.
Cool.
So that means I've roughly had 41 conversations with people over Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Right. How different does it feel to you, us having this conversation now, to when I came to Telford the other day? How different?
From personally, not much different.
Not much different.
And you're in, my voice is cracked.
Easy.
And you're in London, yeah.
I mean, but I could be anywhere, is the point.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You're in London now, and the conversation feels completely the same as if we were. The only difference is we're not kicking a ball around.
Right.
So it's still the same.
And my point to you before is, when you were old Xbox times, when you could create an avatar and you could dress it how you wanted to dress it and make the face like your face. I don't see that there's going to be much difference. That we could have this conversation. You'd be wearing a VR headset. I'd be wearing a VR headset. We could be in the park, Parklands Park or wherever, Bowring Park, kicking a ball around. And it would be my avatar that's just been scanned of me that day. And your avatar that's scanned of you that day. Then and we could be back in Bowring Park kicking a ball about having the same conversation we were having, right?
Technically, you can already do that on VR.
Right.
Something called VR chat. You don't come out as looking like you. You come out as some sort of stupid avatar.
But the point's the same, right?
Yeah.
So like,
eventually it'll be, well, it's already started with the lockdown. It's already started that everyone's working from home.
Yes.
It's eventually becoming that you don't actually have to leave your home for anything.
And this is where the thing that I get to, that I think as humans, we will see it as the end of humanity and that will be a bad thing. But I don't view it as negative or positive necessarily. Like, think about this. Let me paint this to you. So we get to the point where AI has reduced the need for a high percentage of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, you don't really need to leave your house for much.
No.
If you need groceries, Tesco's will deliver it to you. If you want to get a takeaway, hot food, that can be delivered to you.
Yeah.
If you want a book, Amazon will deliver it to you. If you need almost anything, Amazon will deliver it to you, or somebody will deliver it to you, right? The only thing right now you need to do to really leave your house is get tested by the doctors. But even that, now there are some doctor surgeries that will send you blood tests. You do the blood test, send it back to them, and they'll process it for you. Right? So even that is becoming lesser and lesser and lesser. So we get to a point where you don't need to leave your house to function.
Mm-hmm.
Then what about work and stuff? Well, as you say, many people like myself have been working from home. If you could connect via a VR headset, let's just say, to a robot and monitor it doing plumbing, electrician work, gas works, whatever. And if something happens that you don't agree with, you can intervene.
Yep.
Do you need to leave your home? No.
No.
But then how? And then there comes a time when that robot, because you've intervened, it will learn why you intervened.
Yeah.
And doesn't make the same mistake again.
No.
So then the plumbing job becomes lesser and lesser. Right?
Yep.
So eventually,
you lose your job.
You lose your job, but eventually the point is that you don't need to leave the house.
No. So you lose your life, technically.
Right. But you lose what we determine to be life.
True.
Right. And then that's where I think something like VR headset comes in, because then you can be entirely social. There'd probably be simulations for work.
Yeah.
There would be a simulation of you getting in a van with your toolbox, going to a house and fixing shit.
Yeah.
That's what people are going to be doing. Right? How we make money, I fucking no idea. How all of this thing works, I've no idea. But I can honestly see that even the physical capacity of what a house is, you wouldn't need to leave a room, really.
No.
And then you become to a point where your consciousness is so uploaded into something, you don't need to leave a chair. And then you're looking at the Matrix.
Yeah. Fuck no. We're pushing towards that point, which was actually scary, in the sense that we're not far away from it now.
I really like, there are some things that are incredibly difficult to get over that Lex Friedman talks about a lot. And I get that. But I honestly don't think we're that far away. Because if you look at me right now, I got up just before my morning meeting today. I got out of bed where I was lying down. I walked 15 paces, maybe less. I sat down in my chair, and I've only left my chair from 8:30 this morning. It's now 6 p.m., 6:15 p.m. I've only left my chair to get some water or go to the toilet.
Shit.
I get some food.
It's not very healthy, Harry Powell.
It's not very healthy. But I've done my work day. I've had plenty of calls with plenty of people. I've communicated with plenty of people. And now we're having a conversation for, what is it, an hour and a half?
Yeah. Like you say, everything is within 15 steps of you. Because how far away is it from your kitchen to get your food? 15 steps.
Less, 6.
So there you go. Everything is within 15 steps, including your bedroom.
Right.
You don't have to do anything. So it's delivery. It's to your door. 15 steps.
And then when Amazon Alexa becomes a robot that can move, Amazon Alexa goes to the door to get parcels. Amazon Alexa goes to the door to pick up takeaways. Amazon Alexa goes to the door to pick up groceries.
Fuck getting one of them. Not.
I mean, people have these Google Minis and whatever, and Siri and all this shit. Nah, it's not for me.
No, I don't have any of it.
It's not for me.
No, Jack came my head in if I come home with an Alexa, I think.
And I agree.
Yeah. Like, I mean, personally, I don't want one anyway, but yeah.
I feel like this is the trajectory that we're going down. And the reason why what you were saying at the very start about if people had unlimited time, what would they do? This is why I find that so interesting, because I can foresee a place, if we get to a point where people aren't, like, unless there's a choice whether like government or, because I think government in that scenario, government doesn't exist anymore, really. The tech companies rule everything.
Yeah.
Like, but I wonder if in some fashion, I mean, I don't know how you even get food. I don't know how you buy food, right? Unless, like, the way you buy food is by adopting to the program. You put the VR headset on for a certain amount of days, and then you get credits, and the credits are what you use for food. And that's just like a game, right? Just like a game. But if something similar to that, like, that's the first logical thing that I thought about. Like, you know, we're ticking off arguments here of how you do things. But you know, if something like that occurs, then you have unlimited time.
Yeah, you do.
To kind of do whatever you want. Inside the confines of a VR headset and a room, maybe.
So, like you say, you have limited time, but it only takes a certain amount of time to do everything.
But
with what you've got.
It takes a certain amount of time to do everything that we can think of.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, you can.
All I was going to say is how this ends, I think, is similar to The Matrix, where you live in a world, but what about when you break through that world and you create other worlds? Because this is really where this goes, right? Think about games development. Now, okay, a lot of games development have been based on similar engines and similar concepts and whatever. But if you have the ability to create anything that you can conceptualize, it's going to be some mad shit happening. Yeah. But what this happens, and I had a conversation with a guy called Chuck the other day, and he had a thought that we are gods. Right now, he believes we are gods. And he gave a really, really, really good argument as to why. And if anyone wants to hear that argument, go back and listen to the podcast previously. But
cheeky little plug-in.
Thank you very much. But if we get to a position where we can create anything that we can conceptualize, I'm sorry, but we are gods.
Yeah, technically we are, because a god is something that can create whatever they want. Right? Yeah, so which we'll be able to do. But then, does that mean, I don't know what kind of god we are? Because there's always going to be someone above us.
Right. I mean, but we don't know whether there's a hierarchy to God either. True. You know, if we go back to BRJ philosophy, and we talk about like the idea of the first mover.
Yeah.
And the first mover being, the argument against the first mover argument is that there must be a God.
Yeah.
There must be a God because something had to begin somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But then you could have an entire lineage of gods back to the very first God.
What are the Greek gods?
Even further than that, maybe. We don't know.
Yeah.
And this is kind of my point, right? Is if you've got, the things that we could have, it could be possible that the gods that every culture worships were entirely real.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know. So
you don't know. Exactly.
It could be every single god does exist.
And where we get to how I want to bring this back now, and I'm going to ask you this question, is how do you know that what you're doing right now is real?
The only way you can prove it is because you can feel it.
But how do you know that that's real?
Well, you don't, do you?
Right.
You don't know about anything, technically. Obviously you know about things, but again, like you say, you don't know the reality of certain things because the only way you can know is from your own experience, but how can you say that is real?
Well, let's go back to your point before. And how do we know that we're not a recycled soul that's just deleted the memories from their first life?
Right? Exactly. It could be.
Because experience then is almost futile because it's repeatable and it's just rinse and rewash, right?
It's an interesting topic because, well, it's one of them things that there is no actual answer. And I don't think we ever will have an answer. Not for the beings that we are now. We might get an answer, like you say, when if we do eventually die. I say if, because who knows what can happen? You know what I mean?
Yep.
But so, and then you can actually ask God and be like, "Yo, what's this all about?" And that's the only way you can find out. And you can then say to God, like, "What are you? Why are you here? How are you here?" That's the only way you can find out. And whether you can actually do that, I don't think you will be able to. So it's all a big question mark.
I agree, but I think that we're closer than ever to building some form of explanation. Whether that explanation is right or not, I don't know. Because there's that. You're talking about interest in the USSR and all this kind of stuff. There's so many, like Atlantis and the Egyptians and all this sort of stuff, where people look at you fucking David Beckham wanker.
Oh, get the fuck off! I need it cut. It's too long.
So for people that are listening to audio only, Ben is currently, he has the David Beckham curtains.
A fucking 1999, 2000.
Yeah, with a bit of a mullet at the back.
It's getting a bit mullety at the back. It's kind of disgusting, to be honest.
He's trying to join the long hair gang, but it's just not happening yet.
It's not happening.
But yeah, like there's thoughts, bountiful thoughts about the idea that human civilization reached a level of technological advancement similar to what we had now, but thousands of years ago, and then something happened like a meteor or the dinosaurs or whatever, and they were like, cool, bro, get that fucking out of here right now. You know what I mean? And it could be that it's like a kid playing a video game, and because they lose the level or they do something silly, they have to start all over again.
It could be.
It's like SimCity, when you destroy the city and you have to start again.
Yeah, you absolutely decimate the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. It could be whatever you say it could be, technically.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. It could be whatever you say it could be. If you can prove it in some form of... And this is the other thing, like this is the other thing is like, I've said all this shit, right? Or you've said all this shit as well. And we can agree because we're speaking over the boundaries of logic. What we determine to be the boundaries of logic. We don't even know if logic's real.
No, we could be wasting our time and everyone's time, whoever listens to this. We've wasted your time, sorry.
I mean, thanks for getting this far, but yeah. I mean, if you had to put your finger on it, if I had to push you for an explanation, what have you got?
What, of why we're here, or
what happens after this?
What happens after this? I'd say, again, it's more of what I want, then what could actually happen. So I don't, because again, I don't actually know what happens after this. It's a topic that it could be anything. I think it could be reincarnation. I think there could be a paradise, like they say, you go to paradise and that's where, you eternally or you could go to hell, it depends how bad or good you are. But like I said, what I'd like to happen is to be able to have a memory bank, like a hard drive, an external hard drive just plugged into me and be able to go experience other things. But but like I said, I don't think that is actually going to be it. So I think to be like realistic as you can be with the whole situation, I think the most accurate to me is reincarnation.
Okay.
Like to me, I think, but then it's a fucking big question, because you could be like, why reincarnation though? Why couldn't it just be people are born on this earth, people die on the earth? You don't go any further than the ashes that you're buried, or you're buried, or your ashes. You don't go anywhere after that. As soon as you die, that's done. You're dead. You might not be a soul inside. It might just be a human body that's working towards a project that has been created called the world. I don't fucking know.
It's a Minecraft save.
Yeah, literally. I mean, it's like Minecraft world is literally endless, and so is our world, really. Not the Earth itself, but the universe. It is endless.
Well, we don't know that, right?
That's what I mean. But we know how, as far as we know, we can't explore that.
Sure.
Like, because it would take us way too long. So technically, to us, it's endless.
Yes.
Whether it is or not, we don't know. Like I said, but so I don't know. I think what happens after this is I think it also depends on how I'm feeling. I think sometimes maybe we just die and that's it.
That's a big point.
I think sometimes I will be reincarnated. I will be that rabbit that I see walking on, in the field, or like a bird, or whatever. Or I can choose what I want to be. You know what I mean? Not as in I choose a person. Like I want to be so and so, or Ben Davis, or whatever, Harry Powell. I can choose I want to be a person, or I can choose I want to be a bird. I can choose I want to be a fish, and etc. etc. So like I said, it depends on how I feel. You asked me the question today, I'd say reincarnation. Ask me the question tomorrow, it might be just death. Nothing. Emptiness, black.
Well, let's hope that tomorrow isn't as bad of a day as you make it sound.
Oh yeah, I mean, it does sound a bit
dreary.
Yeah. No, I don't know. It's a very interesting question, and again, like, what do you think?
I guess I'm kind of similar. I think everything that all the evidence that I have seen so far points me towards that death is the end.
Yeah.
But I think even that statement's quite complex, because it's the end of what we know to be life.
The end. Yeah.
However, I've never experienced things like DMT or ayahuasca or whatever. However, from listening to plenty of people speak about their experiences, you're transported to another dimension. And that dimension could well be as real as the one we're in now. We have no idea. So whilst I feel like at this present moment in time, in this current evolutionary state that we're in, less so than before, but when we die, I believe that at the moment, that's what happens. The end of this life is what happens. I have no idea what that means in a grander scheme of what life is, or what, because I agree with you. Like, one of the main reasons I believe that humans are here is to progress the project of the world.
Yeah.
To progress the project of humanity. Whether there is an overarching orchestrator or conductor or programmer or whatever it is you want to determine, I don't know. There are some things that point towards me that intelligent design and photosynthesis and all this kind of stuff that makes me feel like those things are too intricate and too complex to happen by probability and evolution and chance. However, I look at some of the things that humans have created and architected, and I'm like,
is that just us?
That's fucking intelligent.
Yeah, but that's exactly. I mean, that can go. That can segue into something else. I don't know if you finish your thing.
And no, segue. Go. Take me.
I was say, like, with how things have been built in the past, and you think, fuck, that's intelligent. You know, that person that's done that, who designed that pyramid, like in Giza, to all be that fucking perfect, and also in, like, aren't they all in line or something like that? You know.
Yes.
You know, when were the pyramids built? Like, how many years ago? I don't know. I don't actually know when they were built.
A couple of years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it got to be at least, you know, a few years. So, I think, did they have help? You know what I mean? Did just or I am a firm believer that every life or every era of life there is a few. I could just like maybe 1, 2, maybe 10, 20 geniuses, full blown like fucking geniuses that know how to make that pyramid so fucking pinpoint to that pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
But I also believe they could have had help from external things, like a god or an alien, or, you know, but that is like spiritual shit. But again, like, say, how does someone from that long ago know how to do that when we can't even fucking do that now? Because we can, but it's so difficult. We wouldn't, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Not by hand, anyway.
No, that's what I mean. We can't do it by hand, but they didn't have the technology we've got now.
As far as we're aware.
Exactly. Maybe they did, but I mean, so I think it's just interesting how there could be some sort of external life assisting us at times, like when Jesus came down, something like that. Maybe it's an alien.
Who do you think that? Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Possibly. Who do you think is the genius of our era?
Genius of our era? What would you class our era as?
Well, you tell me. You're the one that made the statement.
I don't know. Personally, from a personal level, I don't know who the genius is from our era. But you can go back, and the way that's what I was saying. Like, you can go back and look at geniuses from previous eras, like Isaac Newton and so on and so forth.
Nikola Tesla and all these people.
I suppose you could say now is you could say Elon Musk.
I think so. That's the guy that gets my vote. Yeah.
You could also say it depends on how you look at it nowadays as well, because you can say you're intelligent in a certain field, but not in another. I don't know. I don't know the answers to that. I mean, I'd say Elon Musk is probably the closest to genius, or is a genius, or about Stephen Hawking.
Yep.
I mean,
but then, I mean, have you read any of Stephen Hawking's books?
I've not, no.
One of his books is like it's a collection of like his essays, right? And in that essay, you know, he claims that he's just a famous mind, not the best mind.
Oh.
Like he's worked with people that were greater, but it's just that he was famous. And you could say the same for Musk, right?
Yeah, you could.
There may well be people behind Musk that are far superior intellectually, but just don't get the shine. Right, maybe.
Well, one thing that's always stuck with me, that my brother always told me, I think, when Usain Bolt broke the world record for being the fastest man in the world in a 100-meter sprint, my brother was like, there's always going to be someone faster than him. And I was like, that's bullshit, because how can it be? He's the fastest person in the world. He's got the world record. And that was it. That was the end of the conversation, really. But now when you look back at it, and you think there's always going to be someone better than you at your job, I think.
Not just that.
And the only reason we don't know that is because they might be from a place or a time or whatever that they can't prove that they're the best at that in the world. Like, you could be someone from Syria and be the fastest, but you'll never know because you've got so much trouble on at home, you'll never be able to prove it.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. There could well be a man that could run, or a female that could run the 100 meters in 8 seconds.
Fuck, imagine. Fuck.
Be insane, but could happen.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't put it past it not happening. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if, maybe not in our lifetime, but in the future, someone will run 100 meters.
9 seconds.
Yeah, definitely. Someone will break Usain Bolt's record in our time, I think.
Probably. I mean, there's going to be some kid that's a genetic freak.
Yeah.
That will, like Usain Bolt, that will have the perfect frame and the perfect mentality, and it'll just be that.
Does it? Yeah. I think. Yeah. They'll be the perfect person for that sport or whatever it is, that
thing,
subject,
endeavor.
Yeah. So I can't remember what the fucking topic was. I went off so fucking much there.
I can't tell you if I remember either, to be honest. You started out in a segue, and
Spoke about intelligent people.
It's geniuses of
and
every
that's
era.
it. And everyone said there's always someone better than you.
Yeah, right? I think so. I think that's fair. I do, but I think it's good to know that. But I also think that shouldn't dissuade you from doing something, because every iteration of something is data on the hard drive, if we're going to say that. Like every podcast I do, every time I come away from it, if it was a really good one, I was like, oh, that was a really good one.
Yeah.
If it wasn't so good, I come away being like, why wasn't that so good?
Yeah.
Let me give you some stats right now, this second, right? How many podcasts do you think exist in the world?
Fuck. Oh, mate. I think it could be pushing 1 billion. I mean, it's not.
Okay, it's nowhere near that.
Is it not? Because it could be pushing it, though, when you think about how many podcasts.
So that's how many, that's not how many podcast episodes.
Oh, okay, just how many actual podcasts.
How many actual podcasts?
Oh, okay. It got to be at least millions, then.
It's 1.5 million, roughly.
Fucking hell.
Right? Now, podcast episodes, you're looking at about 81 million.
Okay, that's still surprising to me. I thought it'd be even more.
Surprisingly small, right?
Yeah.
But bearing in mind, how many podcasts do you think there were in 2017?
I couldn't tell you. I mean,
in 2017, there was about 300,000 podcasts, 400,000 podcasts.
Really?
So think, from 2017 to now, there's 1.1 million podcasts created.
Wow.
Right? So my point here is, what we have is we have, let's say, roughly 1.5 million people making podcasts.
Yeah.
To think that you're going to be the best podcaster in the world is feeble, in my opinion. However, there are roughly 1.5 million, 1.6 million people adding to the overall understanding of what podcasting is and how to make podcasts. In the same vein, if you think about carpentry or woodwork or stonework, going into that thing, you're merely taking, the saying of standing on the shoulders of giants, right? It's a similar thing. You're merely adding to the lineage of whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
So the term of, there's always somebody better than you, I fucking hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you, mate. Yeah. Because, well, if it's obviously depends on how you view it as well. I think if you say you fucking hope that someone's better than you with that, if you could also view it in the thing that you think you are the best, so you think, I can't be anyone better than me. So
I think if you're in a place where, go and listen to the Elon Musk podcast with Joe Rogan.
Oh, I have.
So the thing that really stuck out to me about that is how lonely that guy is.
Yeah.
He's one of the busiest people I know. Puts his day into 5-minute increments, whatever.
Yeah.
And yet it seems he portrays like his brain thinks on such a different plane to everyone else's that he just can't connect with people in the same way.
No.
Me and you can have a conversation because we're both fucking idiots about something like the point of the world or what's going to happen to us when we die, right? And we can connect and we can have a discussion because both of us have absolutely fucking no idea.
Yeah.
Right? But if you talk to Musk, he may know some shit that we don't know.
Yeah.
And he won't be able to explain because our fucking monkey brains don't understand.
I can't get a head around it. Yeah, that's true.
So to your point, and I imagine, if we spoke to Pele, for instance,
I
wonder what it was like to be Pele knowing that you were the best player by a country mile. Like Messi and Ronaldo, whilst I think it's easy to say that Messi is the greatest footballer in the world, I do think because there is a conversation, because there is a Ronaldo, there's competition.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. If there was no Ronaldo or if there was no Messi, Jesus, those players would be lonely players.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I think an interesting question to ask you, like say Pele, what was it like?
Or Maradona, or
fuck Maradona.
I mean, well, all right, fine.
I get what you mean. I think it'd be interesting.
If you're somebody that's so far ahead of everyone else in your certain thing, Usain Bolt for a couple of Olympics, right? You made a great example. Nobody came close to that fucking guy.
No.
It was almost like he did the first 50 meters jogging, and then he was like, "All right, I'll win now."
Yeah. Fucking mental.
Incredible.
And he's like you say, some people are miles ahead of people. I don't know how to explain how far ahead they are of them miles.
This is the thing, right?
It must be a weird fucking life.
Yeah.
Again, it's hard to say because monkey fucking brain.
Yeah.
Don't have a fucking clue how to explain it.
Of course.
But it's and I wonder what it's like to be in that position, and I wonder if we ever will be in that position. Will we ever be one of the best at something?
No. In short, I doubt.
Oh, fuck you.
I mean, I know that's a horrible thing to say, but I doubt
it's true. It is true. I mean, you can probably say 100%. That is obviously you can never say 100% because obviously there's always a chance because of luck. But you can. There's always a chance. It's like 95% certainty that will never ever happen.
I think so. I think that where we're duty bound, however, this might be a good place to leave this, is it's more important for you to produce the best version of yourself, right? Because like for me, you could have been an athlete.
Yeah.
You used to run really fast.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can still run faster than a lot of people over 100-meter distance. But like you used to run really, really fast.
Yeah.
You used to be a better than average footballer with barely any real coaching or training. We both used to be a better than average Call of Duty player.
Yeah.
We didn't take any of those chances. We didn't.
No, we didn't. No. You're right.
Like you hate running. Fine, that's a problem if you're going to be an athlete.
Yeah. Right. Well, I enjoy sprinting. I enjoy 100-meter sprint. But yeah, like going for a run to get fit. Now, fuck that.
Right. That's fine. That's a good definition. But like we missed those chances. We didn't take those chances.
No, yeah, we didn't.
Now, maybe life just only serves you up a certain amount of chances, and if you don't take them, you don't take them. But even if you don't take them, you should be the best mediocre person you can be. Oh
yeah, you should always strive to be the best person you can be.
Right.
Even if you don't know the chances are there, and you just go on with life. You should always strive to have the best possible life you want. You know what I mean? You don't. So I agree with that. Yeah, you should always strive to be the best, even if you're not the best.
And I think actually, it's also just as important to have a balanced understanding that you're right. Like, let's say you stay in the career path you're in. You're going to be an electrician, a gas man, a plumber. But you could do all that shit, right? Yeah. And let's say you decide to specialize in plumbing. You're only ever going to do plumbing for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. It should be that you try to be the best plumber there is.
Yeah.
Of course. That's the goal that you should raise to. You should look to the stars. Yeah. But also understand that the likelihood for you to get there is small, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't stop trying.
There's always a chance.
There's always a chance.
So yeah, I agree. I think I can't actually add anything to that. I agree.
Well, look, before we close this out, I want you to tell people, whoever listens to this, where they can find you, whether that be Twitter or Twitch or Instagram. Tell everyone where it is.
You can find me on any of the platforms. I don't really use any of the platforms, so you can follow me if you want at Ben Davies 96 on Twitter and Instagram, and then Benji Doody on Twitch. Don't bother doing that because I haven't done anything on it. But yeah, if you really want to see nothing, follow me.
Or if you really want to further a conversation with Ben on any of his points from today. Because, you know, a lot of the guys some of the people that come on here, you know, they're PTs or they're jiu-jitsu people or they're, you know, just they're people with something to sell or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that. If you want some fucking plumbing done, lads, this is your man.
Give me a call.
Yeah.
Nah. But yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, I think so one thing that I really want to get across from this, and I've thought about this recently, is this is supposed to be a platform for conversation.
Yeah.
So something for anyone that gets to this point of listening, if you get to the point where you're 2 hours and something deep into this episode, and something sparks in you that you enjoyed or you wanted to discuss further, reach out.
Yeah.
To either me or Ben or both at the same time.
Yeah.
Reach out, talk to the people in your life. Yeah, exactly. Talk to your friends, talk to your family about this stuff. Bring it up in conversation. The whole point of this is that, you know, me and Ben have had many a conversation like this, whether it be over Xbox or in person. But if this is something that interests you, then do that thing.
Definitely.
But yeah, I will, as always, I will bid you a good day. I love you very, very much, and thank you very much for doing this.
It's fine. Thank you for having me. I mean, we can go on for hours and end. So I mean, there's a few things that I thought we could speak more on. So potentially another time if you would like to. Depends on obviously situations, but I appreciate you having me on. I love you a lot as well. I mean, you know, it's.
Mate, you can come on as many times as you want. As many times as you want. If there are things that you feel like we didn't go through today, then note them down and we'll record another one soon and we'll just get
Well, I mean, it's just some things that I think we only hit lightly on and we were going to go into it more, but we didn't. Sorry. So we're going to speak more on the lockdown, and we went off on a fucking tangent about.
That's true. That is true.
We said nothing on that, but I mean, so yeah, I'm more willing to talk about more stuff, more than this. It's like also I came into this not having a clue what we're going to talk about, and we managed to talk for 2 hours about just random stuff. So I mean, and as the time's gone on, I've thought about stuff to talk about or thought about stuff I want to say, but I haven't had, you know, there's not been any kind of links to be able to get something in or whatever. So I mean, I'd love to have another chat, even if it isn't a podcast, you know, to talk about shit.
Mate, you can fucking call me whenever you want. It doesn't have to be recorded.
True, that's true. So, but yeah, so